Can you explain the difference between a complete feed and a ration balancer, and if one is recommended over the other for horses starting training?
Boy, can I.
One of your favorite topics.
Oh my goodness, oh my goodness. Okay, so we finished one about the multivitamin mineral supplement, and I would call this the bottom rung of my equine food pyramid. Because if you have a really high quality pasture or hay, then maybe all you need are some vitamins and minerals to bridge the gap between what the horse requires based on the NRC nutrient requirements of horses and what they're getting. Okay, done. Then the next one is what she asked about, the ration balancer. That's this one, if you hold that. This is the Buckeye brand Grow and Win, and this is 1 pound, and it's a really good smelling
it does smell
pellet.
pretty good.
Yeah, and it makes a satisfying sound if you drop it with your scoop from high onto the horse's feet, so they feel like they're getting something and they're not missing out when everybody else in the barn is getting something. We traditionally feed this, well, it has vitamins, minerals, and protein.
Okay,
so the next step up from this.
Yep, just vitamin minerals, and now we add in protein for this one.
But not so much calories, because it's for the horse that doesn't need calories. So the easy keeper, or the one that's not doing much work. Now she said she's starting a horse in training.
Yes,
So this might not be the perfect feed. The next step then is a fortified grain, also called a concentrate. This is a sweet feed, so it probably feels a little sticky.
a little bit.
Okay.
A little bit.
Yeah, so it's got the nutrients are vitamins, minerals, protein, calories, generally in the form of simple carbohydrates or sugars and starches. And for some horses, that's not appropriate, although others need those calories because they're starting in training. They're doing work.
So if you have a horse who maybe is a little bit on the easier keeper side.
Doesn't need calories,
can
doesn't need this, stick with this.
Got it.
Or a horse that just doesn't do well with sugars. So a horse with PSSM, polysaccharide storage myopathy, or a horse that just gets silly with sugar. I mean, like this is Pixie Sticks for horses, right?
Yeah.
So it just doesn't do well for everyone. The next feed I think she asked about was
The complete feed.
the complete feed. And I don't think we're going to set this one up, but we'll just maybe.
I'll try.
Okay. This is 16 pounds.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, the complete feed, and it's this color because it's beet pulp based, and it's like hay and grain in a bag. So for the horse, the older horses, horses with bad teeth, horses that can't have hay because of, say, a respiratory allergy, this provides their forage and their nutrition. So it's got the vitamins, the minerals, the protein, the calories, and the forage. This is everything.
Got it. So this is like maybe senior horse who can't eat as much hay. Due
Or
to the
can't
teeth.
eat the long stem forage. They don't have the teeth for it anymore, and they ball it up in their mouth and spit it out, the quitting, you know. So this is everything they need. But 16 pounds, that's all they would get in a day. So a 50-pound bag is going to last you 3 days. And then, but you can't feed this much at once. You would feed it in, say, 3-4 feedings, and you might even soak it to make it even easier to eat, sort of a gruel.
I was going to say 16 pounds, you'd have to split it into.
Well, it's not a grain.
Yeah.
It's hay and grain. So, but it is bulkier than, you know, the forage that you take in and chew. When it's forage, as long as it's forage, they have a lot of chew time, and so it goes through the digestive system at a slower rate. This is going to go down much faster because they can just chew and swallow next. So yeah, but if you divide this up into, say, 3 feedings of 5 pounds each, that's perfect. So for her, she could start with a ration balancer, and then if the horse is not maintaining weight or energy for performance, then move up to the fortified grain, wherever that went. So
Sorry.
you kind of have to, and then you read the bag, and you give what it says, but then you can adjust up and down. You don't have to stick with just the bag. That's your guidelines of where to start, and you adjust based on what the horse is telling you, which means you have to body condition score.
Yeah.
That's a different
Another
video.
favorite of your topics.
And use the weight tape and look how your horse's attitude and performance
Here, I'm
are.
going to put this one down.
Yes, that looks very heavy. Good job.
Ugh, thanks.
So, yeah, but that's the multivitamin, the ration balancer, the fortified grain, and the complete feed in order of the nutrients they have and what they're used for.
So since her horse might be an easy keeper, it's just starting out, you want to start.
I would start with the ration balancer, and if the horse shows you that he needs more calories, then I would go to the fortified grain.
And add in the fortified grain, and
I would switch to the
Yes.
fortified. I tend not to combine products because manufacturers make them for specific purposes, and when you combine products, you don't really know if I'm feeding a little bit of this and a little bit of that and a little bit of this, you don't know what they're getting as far as vitamins and minerals and proteins. So just feed one product, and when you do switch gradually.
Yes.
Over 7 to 10 days or even 2 weeks.
Highly
No
recommend.
hurry.
And how much of the fortified grain do you feed
Oh, so
typically
this
per
is
day?
probably, this is 2 or 3 pounds. Sometimes it can be as much as 5 or 6 or more pounds. There's different grades, I guess, of fortified grain. Some of them are very concentrated in their energy. They're very energy dense. And so you might only need to feed a few pounds, but if you have a horse in really heavy work, a racehorse, might need 6, 7, 8 pounds of it. And the rule of thumb is no more than 0.5% of body weight. I know math. So as an example, a 1,000-pound horse should really get no more than 5 pounds at a meal.
Okay.
So if your bag says and what you're doing, your horse says, I need more than 5 pounds of grain a day, you have to divide it up. So like 3 pounds in the morning and 3 pounds at night.
A little breakfast, lunch, dinner situation.
Perfect. Yep.
Perfect. Well, I think that's
I think we did it.
we have a lot of blogs though on our website and referring to grains because it can be kind of an overwhelming topic, and you've definitely done a lot for us over the years. It's kind of breaking it down and explaining it.
Okay.